Good morning. Plato's Charmides, Day 2. Yes, he said. And are they right, and you agree with them? Yes, he said, certainly I should. His approving answers reassured me, and I began by degrees to regain confidence, and my natural heat returned to me. As if Socrates was really influenced by this young boy. Such, Charmides, I said, is the nature of the charm which I learned when serving with the army from one of the physicians of the Thracian king, Charmides, who was said to be able even to give immortality. The Thracian told me that in these notions of theirs, which I was just now mentioning, the Greek physicians are quite right as far as they go. But Charmides, he added, our king, who is also a god, says further, that as you ought not to attempt to cure the eyes without the head, or the head without the body, so neither ought you to attempt to cure the body without the soul. And this, he said, is the reason why the... Oh no, I forgot to time again. And this, he said, is the reason why the cure of many diseases is unknown to the physicians of Hellas, because they disregard the whole, which ought to be studied also, for the part can never be well unless the whole is well. It's also interesting in connection with all of humanity being a whole. The part can never be well unless the whole is well. For all good and evil, whether in the body or in the whole man, originates, as he declared, in the soul, and overflows from thence, as if from the head into the eyes. And therefore, if the head and body are to be well, you must begin by curing the soul. That is the first and essential thing. And the cure of the soul, my dear youth, has to be effected by the use of certain charms. And these charms are fair words, and by them temperance is implanted in the soul. I think temperance is a translation of sophronis, so the virtue that is actually quite untranslatable. And by them temperance is implanted in the soul, and where temperance comes and stays, their health is speedily imparted, not only to the head, but to the whole body. Nothing in excess, as the Delphi inscription said. And when he taught me the cure and the charm, he added, let no one persuade you to cure his head, until he has first given you his soul to be cured by the charm. For this, he said, is the great error of our day in the treatment of human beings, that men try to be physicians of health and temperance separately. And he strictly enjoined me not to let anyone, however rich or noble or fair, persuade me to give him the cure without the charm. Now I have sworn, and I must keep my oath, and therefore if you will allow me to apply the Thracian charm first to your soul, as to the stranger directed, I will afterwards proceed to apply the cure to your head. But if not, I do not know what I am to do with you, my dear Charmides. It makes me think of, I think it's the Stoics, that physicians of the soul, philosophers as physicians of the soul. The origin of psychology, I imagine. Critias, when he heard this, said, "The headache will be a blessing to my young cousin, if the pain in his head compels him to improve his mind. Yet I can tell you, Socrates, that Charmides is not only preeminent in beauty among his equals, but also in that quality for which you say you have the charm. Temperance, is it?" "Yes," I said. "Then let me tell you that he is the most temperate of the young men of today. It's because everyone is seduced by him and he's not seduced by anyone else. And for his age inferior to none in any quality." "Indeed, Charmides," I said, "I think that you ought to excel others in all good qualities. For if I'm not mistaken, there is no one present who could easily point out 2 Athenian houses whose union would be likely to produce a better or noble scion than the 2 from which you are sprung. There is your father's house, which is descended from Critias, the son of Charmides, whose family has been commemorated in the panegyrics of Anacreon, Solon, and many other poets, as famous for beauty and virtue, and all other high fortune. And your mother's house is equally distinguished, for your maternal uncle, Parilampes, is reputed never to have found his superior for stature and beauty in Persia, at the court of the great king, or anywhere on the continent of Asia, in all the places to which he went as ambassador. That whole family is not a whit inferior to the other. Having such ancestors, you ought to be first in all things. And, sweet son of Glaucon, your outward form is no dishonor to any of them. If to beauty you add temperance, and if in other respects you are what Critias declares you to be, then, dear Charmides, blessed is the son your mother bore. And here lies the point, for if, as he declares, you have this gift of temperance already, and are temperate enough, in that case you have no need of any charms, whether of Zalmoics or of Aparis the Hyperborean, and I may as well let you have the cure of the head at once. But if you have not yet acquired this quality, I must use the charm before I give you the medicine. Please, therefore, to inform me whether you admit the truth of what Critias has been saying. Have you or have you not this quality of temperance?" It is interesting, I think, to note that nothing in excess would probably lead to quite a healthy body. So all of the cure is already in this charm. Charmides blushed, and the blush heightened his beauty, for modesty is becoming in youth. He then made the graceful reply that he really could not at all at once answer, either yes or no to the question which I had asked. "For," said he, "if I affirm that I am not temperate, that would be a strange thing for me to say against myself, and also I should give the lie to Critias, and to many others who, according to him, think that I am temperate. But on the other hand, if I say that I am, I shall have to praise myself, which would be ill manners, and therefore I do not know how to answer you, O wise boy." I said to him, "That is a natural reply, Charmides, and I think that you and I ought together to inquire whether you have this quality about which I am asking or not, and then you will not be compelled to say what you do not like. Neither shall I rashly have recourse to medicine. Therefore, if you please, I will share the inquiry with you, but I will not press you if you would rather not." There is nothing which I should like better, he said, and as far as I am concerned, you may proceed in the way which you think. The beauty of true strength, in that it submits itself to being tested. I like that. I think, I said, that it would be best to approach the question in this way. If temperance abides in you, you must have an opinion about her. She must give some intimation of her nature and qualities, which may enable you to form a notion of her. Is not that true? Yes, he said, that I think is true. You know your native language, I said. Maybe I should read that again. If temperance or wisdom abides in you, you must have an opinion about her. I'm not sure opinion is the right word. She must give some intimation of her nature and qualities, which may enable you to form a notion of her. Is not that true? Knowing by being with, in other words. Knowing by being indwelt by, in other words. Yes, he said, I think it is true. You know your native language, I said, and therefore you must be able also to express your opinion. Perhaps, he said. In order then that we may form a conjecture whether you have temperance abiding in you or not, tell me, I said, what in your opinion is temperance? At first he hesitated and was not very willing to answer. Then he said that he thought temperance was doing all things orderly and quietly. For example, walking in the streets and talking, and indeed doing everything in that way. In a word, he said, I should answer that, in my opinion, temperance is a kind of quietness. Are you right, Charmides? I said. No doubt some would affirm that the quiet are temperate. But let us see whether there is anything in this view. And first tell me whether you would not acknowledge temperance to be the class of the noble and good. Yes, but which is better when you are the writing masters? To write the same letters quickly or quietly? Quickly. And to read quickly or slowly? Quickly again. Well, sometimes reading slowly is fun. And in playing the lyre or wrestling, quickness and sharpness are far better than quietness and slowness. Yes. And the same holds in boxing and in the pancratium, certainly. And in leaping and running and in bodily exercises generally, actions done quickly and with agility are good and noble. Those done slowly and quietly are bad and unsightly. It seems so. Then, I said, in all bodily actions, not quietness, but the greatest agility and quickness is noblest and best. Yes, certainly. And is temperance a good? Yes. Then in reference to the body, not quietness, but quickness will be the more temperate, if temperance is a good. Apparently, he said. Again, I said, which is better, facility in learning or difficulty in learning? Facility. Yes, I said, and facility in learning is learning quickly, and difficulty in learning is learning quietly and slowly. True. And is it not better to teach another quickly and energetically, rather than quietly and slowly? Yes, that might be. Mm. Once more, which is better? To call to mind and to remember quickly and readily, or quietly and slowly? The former. And is not cleverness a quickness of the soul, and not a quietness? True. I think I'll end that today.